Hi everyone, Ali Suzanne here. Thank you so much for visiting Easy FIU. Stands for Easy Financial Independence University. I want to share a little about my story with you. I was born in China. Growing up during the 80s, I lived with my aunt, uncle, and my cousin in a tiny studio of 80 square foot or less. Running water toilet was a luxury back in the day. My dad was working in Canada at the time, and he was always my role model. He worked really hard, he studied really hard, and he got a great job. And he has a three-bedroom house in Canada, a rural Canada, but it's still in Canada. I grew up knowing a job is my only ticket to success, or so I was told. I followed his footsteps, studied hard, went to a great college, and landed my job in Seattle, Washington in a Fortune 500 company. I saved and I saved. I maxed out my 401k, ESPP, and even bought my first rental, a condo in 2009. Life was really good. But after a few years of 9 to 5, I somehow just felt like it wasn't exactly me. I feel like caged. At work, politics were really becoming tiring. I didn't really like my job that much in a cubicle, and I didn't even like my boss's job. It seems to be there's no end to it. And then my daughter was born. It really shook my world upside down. My 9 to 5 becomes even more grueling to me. After a whole day of working, I have very little energy and couldn't spend quality time with my daughter. And my commute was 3 hours. That is more than the time I get to spend with my daughter. And she cried for me every morning when I left for the work. I was heartbroken during that time. So that's really an inspiration for me to start looking at all different avenues to kind of get me to financial independence faster. I looked at my well-saved retirement fund, but the indicator told me that I still got 30 years to go, despite the fact that I was religiously contributing to it to max it out. I looked up about how to quit my job in 10 years or less. There weren't too many resources back then, but there were a few. There are biggerpockets.com I stumbled upon, and I learned all about cash flow. And I heard about this guy, Robert Kiyosaki. I read about his book cover to cover. I got really excited. I devoured my spare time reading upon the subject. I spend hundreds and thousands of dollars flying around the country, go to all conferences. Like a sponge, I soaked up all the information. I also worked super hard and started a second business doing apartment syndication and multifamily management. Fast forward to 2019. My son was born. I now am a principal owner of more than 1,000 apartment units. And I also passively invested in another 1,000 of other people's projects. I was glad to report that I was able to quit my job in 2019, the year that my son was born. I didn't have to go back to my job anymore. It was something we planned intentionally. I came from nothing, and in 10 years, I had two beautiful babies. In 10 years, I was the only breadwinner in our house of four. In 10 years, I took many scenic routes on my journey to financial freedom. In 10 years, despite all that, I was able to quit my 9 to 5 on my term. In 10 years, I was able to build a portfolio of 1,000 units or more. Ironically, my dad, who was 68, just retired in the same year. But the difference is that he has to stick to a strict budget whenever he goes grocery shopping. And I can decide where to move my family to and work remotely in my own term if I want to work. I now work for enjoyment because I believe in giving back. I really truly believe in the importance of financial literacy and education to reach to a point where we can be financially free. I truly believe in the importance of financial literacy and education to help us get there. This is why I now spend all my time to help other 9 to 5ers to reach their financial freedom goal in 10 years or less. I share my blueprint with you here in Easy FI University. And I really look forward to help all of you to quit your 9 to 5 in 10 years or less, because using my example, I totally believe that you can get there.